It's a 2003 Honda Shadow Spirit. Got no voltage on the stator coming out on the 3 wires there on the yellow plug. Ordered a new one from Rick's Motorsports, I believe it was. Get ready to try to change this thing out. These appear to be all 8mm bolts. Trying to use a deep well socket so I don't get the chafe up the cover there. It's like I'm gonna have to take this off at some point here, and I believe I read this sensor on this kickstand, so I'm gonna start taking some of these off and I'll be back. So I wasn't sure how to get this off. Looks like it's just pressed on like a lot of these are, but she's still tight. And I did read in the manual that I downloaded. I'm not sure if it's for the exact one, but pretty darn close. I need to get this out of the way, so I backed this 8mm bolt out. I'll pull that out of the way. This is just on a little slide clip down there, so got that. I'm going to mark all these things. I mark everything. Looks like that was holding this. I don't know how I was binding up on it, but apparently it was a little. I just didn't want to pull on it, I guess, hard enough to mess that up, which is, of course, I don't want to do, but this looks like she just pulls right out. That come out of there. So let's see what we got. I don't like it hitting that kickstand now. Let me look a little closer. Wow, it appears that this top is being held on by one of those push pins right up in there. I don't know if you can see it right there behind the wire. It's just poking through. I'm gonna have to, there it is, have to try to push that thing through. For some reason that one's the only one really holding on. Alright, so I saw this little pin laying down this way. I didn't realize it was a pin. Pulled it up. That's clipping that on there. I'll pull that off. There you go. I bet they all should. As you see, there's one in here. Oh, there she goes. We got a push pin. A couple more, one right there, and one down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get this out. So you got the bottom one there, and then this top one up here has the pin. So I don't know if they all should have those clips. Probably should, but the last guy didn't. Apparently didn't put those others on. All right, we're gonna keep going. I wanted to get a picture of this one here. That's the one that I took the one bolt out. It was part of this cover. There's also another one I see behind the wire. I don't want to confuse when I go to put these back, so just for my own notes. All right, I want to make a note here too. These two, this one and this one, were both tighter than these others. I think they only call for these to be like 12 inch-pounds, but I do think I saw in the manual that, like I said, I downloaded that these two had the blue Loctite, the Loctite on them, the medium temperature, not the red. And I think there, well, of course, you put the stator bolts Loctite on those as well. So I made a note of that. These two, I believe, have the Loctite on them, and I'll make sure when I put them back. This would seem to be a little tighter as well. I don't think it'd hurt to put a little on that. I'll have to check the manual if they actually specify it, but we'll see. Just want to get another picture of everything that's going on here. I like the way they've got this, the clip that's in there. I just want to see that for reference. I like to see how things are. Pictures to me are everything. The wire goes down. Okay, that's the kickstand wire. So far it's just a matter of normal removing these bolts. I don't think you need to see too much of that. Just doing the same thing on all these and taking them out. Just letting you see, it's nothing fancy here. Be back. Do remember about talking about possible oil in there, so I got me the little pan I use just in case. I have seen where some people have to use a rubber mallet to get it to break loose. So we'll see. Looks like there's another bolt right here, and of course it's a 10 millimeter. So that appears to be part of all that. So I'm getting ready to release that, and we'll give this thing see if we can get that cover off. Did notice that, of course, this needs to be moved out of the way. So you got your little bend over bracket, pull that off, and then there's an anchor here. I'm not sure if that's necessary or not, but I guess I better take it off just in case. Not going to hurt, I don't think. All right, I just put a little tug on this. That's already broke loose here. Of course, you can see the bright new green gasket. I think somebody did this recently, as you could probably imagine, but they probably went with a cheap one, and it died. I have no idea. I just bought this about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. I've only been riding it about a month, and she just left me. Well, I say left me. It beat and bang all of a sudden like a bunking bronco. There's some oil, and thank God I got home. I was probably a couple miles from home. That was a nervous. It wasn't fun. So we've got this. Apparently I've heard about this coming off. That came out, looks like. So put that back. Well, we will. There we go. All right, so that's what she looks like inside. I'm gonna pause this and be careful here. All right, looks like there's a little holder Allen set, and this piece goes down and holds that wiring in for the stator. So I'm going to break that loose, and I think that gets Loctite as well, and of course all those do. This thing looks pretty darn good. A little bit troubling why it failed. Be interesting to see if there's a brand on this thing. I'll keep you posted. So I got that, broke that little cover loose, and you can see where it goes into that little holder there, the pin holder. So get that out. Now here's where it was tied into, and it goes back around. If you can see, this little one comes out of there, and she's going to come through here, come through down here. So I don't know if you saw that. It was in this little bend over bracket, and it came up and plugged into here, and it runs through this little one here. I want to get a picture of this. This fell out, that dowel, and this. It looks like that's where she goes. There's an inner gear here that this back, the gear on the back of this rides on. So, and then this dowel here, they mentioned that they could come out. Of course, you got a couple dowels here, down here, and I think there's one. They both. I think there's another one down below. And you may not be interested, but I just want to be sure. So these got two rubbers here, one for both of those places. So she'll go in like that. A little concerned about all this oil I didn't think there would be quite that much. Hopefully that didn't cause any of my issues. Well, I had these Allen wrenches, socket connections, and it's a 5 for this, and of course the bracket, and put it between my legs, and she broke right loose. They weren't too tight. They do have the Loctite, I think, on them, as they say, and they broke right loose. I've already got them broke loose, but just wanted to give you an idea. So just to show you, I got the bolts out, and it just apparently lifts right off. So there, you're seeing it as I do it. I don't know if there's a way to tell the manufacturer, but it sure looks good. I'm gonna try to test this thing again. Maybe there's some bad wires down the line here. I don't know. Makes you wonder what's going on. So I wanted to show you the unboxing of Rick's. You say this is for the 2003 VT750DC Honda Shadow Spirit. Get an idea what this one looks like. Quite a bit different. It's like it's the copper's encased or protected. It's got a number on it there. I did see something else on the other. Let's see if this is a 21128. Yep, 21128. I did see a stamp of some sort on the other. Looks like this is probably rebuilt, I'm assuming. But Lord bless it, hopefully it's a lot better. We'll put it back together. I did clean out most of the oil. I'd like to be interested to know how much oil you should get out of that. Thank God everything looks clean, it looks pretty. That's new synthetic oil. Probably got a couple 100 miles on it. So I have to top her back off. It's the Honda. I think it's the M4 or something like that. I didn't realize apparently the cord does go on the bottom side. That's how the other one was, and comes up. And these little rubbers, if they're rounded on that side, they go in, and this is the flat side. This is the flat side, they're rounded on that side. And your holes line up for your bolts. Got a little regular old Permatex. Gonna throw on my threads just a little bit and tighten them down. I went and looked at the downloaded manual again, and it actually ends up telling you 9 foot-pounds is what those are. You torque those two, which I did with a little bit of the Loctite. And then it says to put a little sealant on this, so I'm not real sure what that means. I've got a little bit of silicone. I'm going to use that, and then put the cover back on here on the wiring. So I carefully worked it back up, put my little spline back on, and move this up kind of at the same time. It held just enough. I was able to get this back on. I think everything's there. Just going to go ahead and start tightening down these bolts. Well, everything went back just like it came off. Of course, I put the pin back here on that little clip, and I don't think these two were in before. The little push, they push in with the rubbers on them. I did notice this. It's got a little tab there. It sits in there, and of course that's your kickstand, and that thing will move and turn your switch, make continuity, and take continuity away. Put Loctite on most of these back ones. I'm not sure exactly. My book wasn't very clear. I mean, physically clear. It was a download. It was a poor download. It was free. I should have probably bought one in the meantime. I hope to soon, but I went ahead and put the Loctite on the back ones up there. I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully I didn't replace that gasket. It was a cheap one I got off of eBay. I'm going to hold on to it. Hopefully I don't need it, of course. That gasket looked basically brand new. So we'll see, but I'm going to put this back and this screw back. And I did ohm this out before I ran it up here, but I had 0.4 on all 3 legs across each one. So that was great. I had crazy different ohms on the original one I took off, and I also had initially 0 volts coming out of the old one feeding my rectifier. Of course, you're not going to get anything to the rectifier if you don't feed it consistent voltage. So I hope to check this before I go much farther, see what I got coming out. And I do have a new rectifier, so we'll see about that. Thanks so much. God bless.